Hey guys, David here. Welcome to Digital Outlook, where you're going to find the best community in all of crypto. In today's video, we're going to talk about XRP2 and the big lie. So guys, without further ado, why don't we get to it? So guys, over the last couple of days, I have just been inundated with all kinds of questions in the comments, one right after another, asking, what is XRP2? Now, I know what XRP2 is, but I know of it from a different place than I think a lot of these questions are coming from, and I'll tell you why. I finally had a question from a commenter that actually put a link in there. Now, that link brought me right over here to this video right here, and what this presenter is submitting to the community and his idea about a potential conspiracy theory where Ripple is pulling the wool over all of our eyes with respect to XRP2. So what I wanted to do here is I just want to play his initial intro, and then we'll pause it and I'll come back. I'll give you a bit of a commentary. How about we do that?
So today we're going to be talking about basically how my gut feeling is that Ripple has been doing some dodgies behind our back and have not been telling us the full story. If you are prone to getting angry with perceived FUD, or if you have a short fuse for conspiracies, or if you do not like people speculating, then this video is not for you. Best you exit now and go to a safe space designation, such as the digital asset investors and other washed up XRP YouTubers that cover the mainstream SEC news as if it's gospel truth. Now that we have the enlightened ones remaining and the snowflakes out, I'm going to show you how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Wow, unbelievable. So right off the bat, this guy's coming out there. He's saying, hey, look, what we're going to talk about is my personal gut feeling. Now, I have no issues with that because, hey, I put out videos out there that are my personal bias as well. But then he goes on to say that, hey, look, if you can't take the heat, it's time for you to get out of the kitchen. He says, look, if you can't take FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and what I'm going to present here, then you need to go over to Digital Asset Investor and other washed up YouTubers. Well, I'm going to tell you something right there. These quote unquote washed up YouTubers, Digital Asset Investor has actually been in this space since 2013. And I'll tell you what, in this community, this XRP community, that guy has done amazing amounts of help and work for this entire community. And the level of disrespect that this guy is actually showing, not only to fellow YouTubers, but listen to what else he said there. He said, oh, well, if you can't take it, and then afterward, well, now that we got the snowflakes out, so basically, if you can't agree with my gut feeling opinion, you're a snowflake and blah, blah, blah. And the people that stick around, well, you're the enlightened ones. I'm telling you what a sense of arrogance and pride. Can you just imagine me coming on to this channel, talking to you, my audience, and saying, oh, by the way, if you don't agree with me, then, you're just a snowflake. You better just find a place over there with all the other washed up wannabes. I'm telling you, the arrogance is unbelievable. And so that put a poor taste in my mouth right from the get-go. I did have an open mind to hear what this guy said, and I really endeavored while he was presenting his quote-unquote evidence to listen to him, but it really actually soiled the whole thing when he comes out and starts off like that. So that is at number one. Now let's go to some of the other stuff that he said, and we can peel back this onion together. Okay, guys, so now we're going to hear him introduce his first piece of what he considers to be evidence. So let's just take a listen and then we'll be right back.
Someone actually asked David Schwartz, our favorite non-evasive, non-NSA engineer, non-club member, for a response, and as usual, we get the go-around. He states, and he states, XRP2 is a separate legal entity controlled by Ripple Labs and is needed to conduct separate specific activities. Separate specific activities? What does that mean exactly? Why is he always so evasive? He can't tell you that they were selling XRP behind your back.
All right, guys, right there. So basically, what he's saying is, hey, Ripple set up this XRP2 to sell XRP behind your back. But did they really? Guys, I want to show you something right over here. Now, this is a fine that Ripple had to pay, was assessed against them by FinCEN. And of course, FinCEN is the Civil Enforcement Department of the Treasury. And what I want you to see right here is the date. Just take a look at this date here, May 5th of 2015. And this information has been out and released, by the way, immediate release May 5th of 2015. It has been released and it's been in the public forum for a very long time and available for anyone to know. Well, just take a look into let's take a look and see what it actually says. The Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, working in coordination with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of California, assessed a $700,000 civil penalty today against Ripple Labs, Inc. and its wholly owned subsidiary, XRP II Limited Liability Corp., formerly known as XRP Fund 2 LLC. Ripple Labs willfully violated several requirements of the Bank Secrecy Act by acting as a money service business and selling its virtual currency known as XRP without registering with FinCEN, and by failing to implement and maintain an adequate anti-money laundering program designed to protect its products from use by money launderers or terrorist financiers. XRP2 later assumed Ripple Labs' functions of selling virtual currency and acting as a money service business. However, like its parent company, XRP2 willfully violated the Bank Secrecy Act by failing to implement an effective anti-money laundering program and by failing to report suspicious activity related to several financial transactions. So guys, what you've got here is back in the early days, way back at that time, Ripple was actually selling XRP through a subsidiary company, XRP2. And it was not under the table. It was not hidden from anybody. You have to remember, back in 2013, there were few people in this space as it was. Now, this information has been available since 2015, and in fact, it has actually formed part of Ripple's defense against the current SEC case. Why? Because back there, FinCEN literally fined Ripple for being a currency, and the US government was saying, hey, you're a currency, you're a money service business. Now they're coming along and saying, oh, by the way, you're not a currency, you're a security now. And so this is where we get this kind of confusion. And so when this guy's coming out saying, hey, they were doing it behind your back, making it seem like it's highly nefarious, it's totally disingenuous. That is not the case. Now, I want you to listen to how he jumps from that to something that is completely way out there in left field with respect to the true definition of what XRP2 is. So let's take a listen to that.
Now think about the name, Ripple 2. That sounds, I mean, why would they pick Ripple 2? Why not just Ripple 1? Why not just Ripple XRP funds? Why XRP 2? This is my gut feeling, and I'll explain this later on. I think XRP 2 was an accurate designation. It was supposed to be a branch off company, subsidiary, involved in the private sale of a private XRP token. Not the public XRP one that we have, but a XRP 2. And I've been hypothesizing this for many months now.
So here he comes out and he's actually looking at, well, why did they call it XRP II? Why not just call it XRP Fund or this or that or whatever? Well, come on, guys. When you're dealing with an organization, just take a look at all the multiplicity. I mean, you're dealing with a massive $15 billion company, and even back then it was still quite a big company. They're going to have subsidiaries. Most corporations do. Your bank does, I guarantee it. Your insurance company does, I guarantee it. Hey, your mortgage company does, I guarantee it. They have subsidiaries. That's how legal structures work. And you get legal structures. Look, when I was back investigating these type of businesses, you'd have one legal structure that would have all the employees would be under the legal structure over here. All the contracts would be settled on another legal structure over here. And you had this parent company that would govern both. Basically, they're not doing anything nefarious here, having separate branches or, a parent company and, offspring down here doing business. Now, he makes a pretty amazing leap there. He's basically saying, oh, I think they named that specifically because there is a separate XRP that the big bankers work with, a different digital asset than what we work with right here in the general XRP thing. And he's been postulating this for months, and it's his gut feeling. I'm telling you guys, he is just basing it on absolutely nothing than what his own conspiracy and his own belief structure is. Now, something that I want to show you is right over here. Let me just take a look here. Now, I know that this guy will critique this all day long because he does not like nor trust anything that David Schwartz says. But let's remember this. David Schwartz was one of the absolute initial founders and builders of the XRP ledger himself. And if anybody's going to know, he's going to know. And I really don't care if this guy critiques me for coming out here and utilizing David Schwartz, because I'll tell you what, I'd put David Schwartz against his understanding 1,000x, 1,000 to 1. So listen to what David Schwartz actually says here. Ripple CTO David Schwartz provided clarification on XRP II after one of his followers found a reference to it in the crypto payment company's official documents. Using Apple Pay and Apple as examples, Schwartz explained that XRP II is a separate legal entity controlled by Ripple Labs and needed to conduct separate specific activities. Just like Apple owns Apple Pay is a separate legal entity and a division of the parent company. Just look at Google. Who's the parent company of Google? Alphabet. Do you see where I'm going with this? He said the developer further separately clarified that XRP II is not a cryptocurrency. And according to the document provided in response to Schwartz's tweet, it appears that the LLC in question was previously named XRP Fund II. So when you come to this idea that XRP II is a separate digital asset, the leap that this guy's making with absolutely no basis in fact and just a gut feeling, I'm telling you, now you really are going down a rabbit hole, like he said in his introduction. So let's just take a listen to a few more things and go from there.
The outcome, which few people know about, is that Ripple actually was fined a penalty of $450,000 to the attorney and $700,000 to FinCEN. But hang on, why would you pay two separate fines? Now, again, I'm speculating here, but these sound like bribes to me. Okay, I wasn't born yesterday. Generally, when you're fined one thing, and it's normally not $700,000. It's normally less. I'm no lawyer, but the fact that the attorney got the money, and notice the wording here, they agreed to forfeit. That doesn't sound like a penalty to me. You don't agree to forfeit. If I get fined, I don't agree to forfeit $450,000 and give that to the attorney.
So guys, right here, this guy is demonstrating his ignorance. And when I say his ignorance, I mean his lack of knowledge regarding legislation and how these types of penalties work. What he's talking about here now, he said in there, oh, well, the attorney got 450,000, did he? No, it says to the office of the United States Attorney. Now, I'll tell you why that is. Because all these offices, like the Justice Department, the U.S. Attorney's Department, all that, they have separate budgets. The law costs that were involved in pursuing this enforcement action got compensated back to the office of the United States Attorney for the Northern District of California, to the office, not to the attorney as an individual. Now, look down here. I just want to show you here. Payment of the forfeiture to the U.S. Attorney's Office shall be deemed credible towards FinCEN's civil money penalty. There were not two penalties. If this amount here was included in this amount here, and by the way, when you're dealing with words, legal language, forfeiture, when you're dealing in a civil matter, it is a forfeiture. Basically, what they're saying is you got ruled against, now cough it up. Forfeit what the court said for you to give. Now, he also said, hey, when you get these fines, they're not $700,000. They're a lot less. Oh, really? Take a look over here, guys. Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. FinCEN announces a $140 million civil money penalty against the USAA Federal Savings Bank for what? For violations of the Bank Secrecy Act. That is exactly why Ripple was fined, right? They were fined because of violations of the Bank Secrecy Act. So what's going on right here is this guy is turning around saying, oh, well, those fines, they seem to be way too high. I'm not a lawyer, but to me, they're bribes. I mean, guys, that is a pretty major leap. First, that they're civil fines that were imposed by FinCEN, which, by the way, Ripple is using in defense in their SEC case. And he's turning around saying, oh, no, they're actually bribes, because he truly doesn't understand what he's reading there. And that's what that is. Now, let's listen to a few more other points that he makes, and we'll just continue on going through our critique here.
Basically, they mention here a Ripple wallet, which they called Ripple Trade. So notice all these subsidiaries that Ripple has created. Ripple Wallet, Ripple Trade. You know, they called it Ripple Trade MSB. XRP Fund. These are wallets, basically, to conduct the sale of businesses, and they tried to be sneaky and register it under a separate runaway name. Now, this is my gut hypothesis. Jed McCaleb was basically using that wallet, and I'm going to make a link here. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it could be the taco stand wallet. Basically, his job was to break away, either these new LLCs or other, and sell this private XRP on the back end, a supply that we don't know about. And they were prosecuted, but they understood the nature of this, and so they basically got a bribe. They basically then got regulatory approval. They were deemed a virtual currency, and it was settled.
All right, guys. So here again, this guy is bringing up these different names, these different subsidiary, Ripple Trade, formerly known as Ripple Wallet, and how it would interact with the Ripple protocol to view and manage their fiat balances, their XRP, and, any such functional equivalent to a money service business that is registered with FinCEN, the Ripple Trade MSB. What do you think MSB stands for there, guys? Money Service Business. Now, what he's gone out and done is said, oh no, this was all done behind closed doors, all hidden, and on and on. Well, guys, I want to show you right here. This is the actual statement of facts of the violation in that particular case. I'm going to put a link right to it in the description of this video. It goes to the introduction and background, what happened, what the legal framework was, how it all happened, how it all went down, the different legal entities involved, what the violations were that were purported by FinCEN, all the way down. And you can just go through this entire document and you can see for yourself what the true facts were. Yes, Ripple was operating an unregistered money service business, and FinCEN called them out. They went and got it adjudicated, and they were fined, and they paid that fine. They did not set up all this network so Jeb McCaleb could sneak off over here and do some nefarious deals and all this kind of stuff. And he literally says in this video that the guy is saying, hey, I'm going based on my own gut feelings and all this kind of stuff, and yet he's putting it out there like it's almost absolute fact. And if you challenge his beliefs, well, you're part of the snowflake crowd. You're part of the washed up guys. You can't use critical thinking when you're addressing and trying to say, okay, well, let's put that to the test. Let's fact check that to see how much water that really holds. Because, hey, there are some things out there that after I've gone through and looked at them, listened to with a critical ear, I've changed my understanding because, hey, the person has presented significant evidence that really holds water, and their argument was worth hearing, listening to, and making a difference in opinion. But I'm telling you, from what this guy has presented thus far, the way in which he's presenting it, it does not convince me, not one iota, because I know the history of what this is. But for folks that are out there in this space that have never ever heard of XRP II in the past, of course, this is going to literally sow inside of them some fear, some uncertainty, and some doubt, which he very much acknowledges right at the beginning of his clip. So let's just listen to a little bit more, and we're almost through this whole entire critique, and we'll see what else that he has to say.
This is scandalous, guys. Why hasn't John Deaton, that PSYOP guy, why hasn't Chad Garlic Mouse, that sneaky smiling devil, why didn't any of these Ripple lawyers mention this precedent? Because this is an important precedent. If FinCEN and the SEC and the United States Attorney declared them to be virtual currency, then why has that not been brought up? And the only possible reason is it's all a big con job.
Well, guys, here he really shows that he has not done any research whatsoever or truly understands what's genuinely going on. And I'll explain to you why. Number one, he's saying, hey, if this is the case, that FinCEN has come out there and has said, hey, look, XRP was designated back here by this government agency as a virtual currency, then why did John Deaton, and he calls John Deaton a psychological operator. I mean, first of all, the guy has absolutely no information to validate such a thing, but I want to show you something right here, guys. John Deaton has talked about it, and just take a look here. And now look at the date on this thread. Let's just find the date on this thread. It's December 31st, 2021. And by the way, if you go back and you follow John Deaton and you go through all the videos, you're going to find out that Deaton has expressly brought this issue up in the past. And listen to what he says. What makes the 2015 FinCEN and Ripple settlement even worse is the SEC and FinCEN had entered into an agreement to share info with the other about companies investigated. In 2006, Chairman Cox said, we are pleased to formalize our already strong working relationship with FinCEN. He's saying, look, the SEC should never have brought this case because they were in relationship with FinCEN and they know what that FinCEN designated XRP as a virtual currency. And so you go down here and you listen and you hear what Deaton has to say. He's responding to all these tweets. The SEC and FinCEN will meet regularly as part of the agency's continuing efforts to improve anti-money laundering and anti-terrorist financing. When Ripple settled, the SEC was well aware of the settlement and details regarding the XRP sales. And here it is, right in here. Any sale or transmission of XRP by Ripple or any of its subsidiaries shall be conducted only through an entity registered with FinCEN. Shall and only are legally binding words, says John Deaton. So how can the SEC bring a lawsuit against Ripple 5 years later over the same XRP sales Ripple already paid a fine for? Because the agreement also reads, this agreement is binding upon the company and the government, but specifically does not bind any other federal agencies. Now this guy is turning around And in his video saying, oh, John Deaton, that psyop, why has he never brought it up? And you know, Garlinghouse and on and on. I'm telling you guys, he is just throwing it out there to see whatever will stick against the wall. He hasn't really done his research. You can go back and you can dig this stuff up for yourself. And by the way, having said that, I want to say this. Don't even take my word for what I'm telling you in this video. I really encourage you guys to just go out there, do your own research, do your own diligence, and dig this stuff up. The strongest and the best answers that you are going to feel the most confident about are the ones you find for yourself. Absolutely zero doubt that that is true. You will. You won't be listening to this guy, and you certainly won't be listening to me, because you're going to know the facts. Dig them up. What he's really doing is just sowing all kinds of doubt, right? All kinds of uncertainty, and certainly people are reacting with fear. How do I know that? Look at the questions I'm getting, you know, on my channel with respect to this whole deal. People are literally concerned. Hey, is there a secondary ledger with their own XRP and we got a different kind of XRP? It's absolute hogwash. But that is what's being presented here. And it's all, and listen to the language, guys, my gut feeling. I believe. I'm not a lawyer. I'm kind of thinking I might not be right. And on and on. But the way in which he tries to present his thoughts and opinion and his ideas, which, by the way, I have no problem with someone coming out with an idea that sounds way out there. No issues with it. But when you try to piece together a bunch of evidence that produces nothing, and it's really not evidence at all, in fact, the way in which you're reading it is completely opposite to what it truly means, then hey, you are going to get holes poked into your argument. That's what debate is. That's what critique is. We're all subject to critique. My videos are certainly subject to critique as well. But this is causing a big stir in the community and had to be addressed. So let's listen to a couple more things. I'm going to wrap this whole thing up.
Look at the public XRP price. ISO 22 came around, went live, no price change. ODL went live, no price change. CBDC is going live, no change. And we're like, what the hell? If you're using our public XRP, we should have seen at least a pump. ODL in itself should have pumped it to at least $10 to $100. Then add ISO, that should have pumped it to 1,000. And then CBDC is even more. But it didn't even go up one single dollar. Why? Because they're not using our public XRP. They're using, this is my gut feeling, I can't prove it, they're using XRP II. Basically from the LLC created by the XRP II fund.
So guys, here's another place where he actually demonstrates his lack of understanding of how markets work. So when large amounts of XRP, and we've all seen those, you know, where, you know, so many million or so many $1 billion worth of XRP has moved from one wallet to another, or there's been a market. A lot of those trades, guys, are done on what's called over-the-counter trading. Now, you can actually dig this information up yourself and fact-check everything I'm saying. When you get large institutional buyers that are buying billions of dollars worth of assets at one time, this works in the stock market, it works in commodities market, it works in all the, you know, whether it's oil, gold, or whatever, and it certainly works in the crypto market. Over-the-counter trading desks work like this. You put in a massively large trade, a large amount, and your OTC trading desks literally spread that liquidity across a multiplicity of exchanges and private individuals that are willing to buy and sell. And the reason they do that is they don't want to start, hey, buying XRP at 40 cents and they're going to put in $1 billion and then end up paying at $250 by the time they're all done. No, they use over-the-counter trading. Now that is how markets work. It works that way in the stock market, works that way definitely with equities, commodities, forex exchanges work that way, and certainly the cryptocurrency markets work that way. And you can literally investigate this and dig this up and find it out for yourself. It's not a secret thing. Market makers utilize this all the time. So he's demonstrating that he truly doesn't understand how markets move and how they work. Now, another thing too, We have not seen central bank digital currencies explode across the world where the entire world is utilizing them. And yes, we have seen some utilization of the ISO 222 messaging standard, but not the full implementation. Now, I do believe that we're definitely going to see a big shift, and we all know it because why? We're still transacting in fiat currency. Take that out of the picture, and when the switches get flipped, you better believe we will more than likely see a major price increase in this entire digital asset space, and not just with XRP alone. But from the way in which he's presenting it is absolutely not true. There is no secondary XRP II that is being used, and the big bankers are paying like multiple tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands for that. And us poor little serfs are just having this public ledger the way that it works. Private ledgers are just that, private ledgers. And in fact, there are multiplicity of private ledgers, not just one. You've got the US government has a private ledger for their central bank digital currency. Japan has a private ledger for its central bank digital currency. London, the Emirates, all around the world, all these national central bank and by the way, central bank digital currencies, they're centralized, guys. They control it. That's how it works. And yes, they're built off of XRPL technology, and they utilize different assets in there, but they're for the issuance of central banks releasing their currency. XRP is a bridge asset that will be utilized amongst all these. There definitely are private ledgers, absolutely zero doubt, but it's not XRP II that's operating on there the way in which he's saying it. And he's literally coming out, it's my gut feeling, I can't prove it. But the emphasis that he's putting on it is there's no denying it. It has to be true because he believes it, right? And ask yourself this. I'm telling you something, guys, I've learned in my own life. There are things that I believed that I found out were just complete nonsense later on in life. We've all experienced that, right? You know, you try to explain money to a child in a real way. You know, they see mom and dad walk up to the bank machine and take it out. Well, in their little minds, they think, hey, there's an unlimited amount of money that can come out of that machine, and put it in mom and dad's hands, and they can go buy me a bicycle, an ice cream, or whatever. But obviously, we all know that's not a reality. Look, at one of the biggest lies that we ever tell kids about finances and stuff like this is happening right now, right? You know, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. Boy, Santa Claus gets all the, I knew a kid when I was next door to me. He was a rotten little kid. And yet, his parents had more money than my parents, but Santa treated him a lot better than he treated me. I mean, come on, guys. This is a fairy tale. What is being presented here. That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm using that analogy. He's believing something because in, his mind, he's connected all these dots, and that's why he's believing it. But it's not based on actual fact. It's based on supposition. So let's just listen a little more, and then we're going to be completely done.
This was a Ripple Cruise Party not too long ago. Drinks, food, massive yacht. Of course, Brad Garlinghouse and co drinking it up. They're laughing at you fools. Ew, but we're covering the SEC case. Amicus brief. Really, guys? Really? Oh, but the summary judgment's coming, and then the judge will submit something soon. But then it got redacted, and then Hinman, and then Hinmanitis. Oh my God, Hinman. Guys, grow up and smell the hummus. Do these look like people that are nervous? Because it's all a show.
So guys, I'm going to end it here, but I'll comment on this a little bit here. He goes on to actually critique a lot of other people, and he gets kind of nasty at with some guys. But needless to say, here he is making fun of some employees, some people out there, with Ripple on a yacht, da-da-da-da-da. Now, let me ask you something, guys. Have you ever had an office party? Did you go out for an office Christmas party? Did the office do something for you? How about your own parties? You've never been to one to celebrate? Look, I could take a picture right now and, of my family, and we could all look like totally relaxed. But I know there's people in my family that are hurting, but they can still smile. The way in which this guy presented is, oh, well, you're all the fools believing this. You know, it's a big con job. They're this and they're that and on and on. But earlier, didn't he say, well, I can't prove it. It's my gut feeling. But you're not allowed to be able to use your critical thinking to say, oh, look, no, you're a fool. Come on, guys. They're treating you like fools. They're laughing at you. Ha, 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 ha. He's not given any latitude for you or I to make up our own mind based on the evidence that he presents. And to me, that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes about the intention behind the information. It is not, he's coming out and salt and peppering it a little bit with this, oh, it's my gut feeling, I can't prove it, all this and that. But his real intention is to sow as much uncertainty and as much doubt and as much fear into you and into this community for folks that have not had the exposure to the things that a lot of us have that have been around for a long, long time. Certainly, he's taken pock shots at Brad Garling's house. He's taken pock shots at John Deaton, taken pock shots at Digital Asset Investor and Brad Kimes' Digital Perspectives, taking pot shots at any YouTuber that disagrees with him. But, you know, it's his gut feeling. Sorry, guys. That's not how I present an argument. Now, I'm going to give this guy the benefit of the doubt that it just has to deal with his level of acumen and immaturity. But in truth, look, we need to exercise critical thinking. And another thing is this. We are responsible for how we treat one another. I'm not going to just say, tear this guy apart and what a mean, miserable person that he must be and on and on. I wish the guy well. I genuinely do. What I'm critiquing here is his expose, what he's presenting. What I'm critiquing here is the way in which, you know, he addresses other people, including his own audience. Imagine that. You know, if you don't, you know, want to stick around, then, you know, you go over there with the washed up people over there. And by the way, you know, oh, now that we got the snowflakes out and the enlightened ones are here, I mean, come on. That is one of the most rudest and most disingenuous ways to interact with an audience that I have ever heard. And to sit through that was quite difficult for me, not because of the information, because I can digest that and I can critically think through that. But what made it difficult for me was the level of disregard for other people and the level of arrogance. Look, when my kids were growing up, I taught them there's two kinds of pride. There's arrogance and there's dignity. Now, arrogance, put yourself up, way up here. You're a know-it-all, you're better, your ideas, your thoughts, your conspiracies, your opinions, they hold way more weight than all of these other folks over here. And by the way, they can't be critically challenged. That's arrogance. But dignity is self-respect. And I'm going to tell you something. It's the gift that you give yourself that no one can take from you. And self-respect dictates that we treat others with dignity and respect. Now, that is my opinion. So guys, this is the video I have for you today, and I truly hope that you enjoyed it. And like always, if there's something you want to add to the conversation, you drop it in the comments right down there and open it up to the community and start a discussion. So guys, before you go, I just want to remind the community that we recently opened up a Discord and it is growing like crazy. And it is a fantastic place to get out there, share all your thoughts and ideas and opinions and everything else with like-minded individuals. And it's absolutely free. And the link is right down there in the description of this video. Now, something else, a lot of folks have come out and said, hey, what is a good exchange to go out there and buy these digital assets? Well, guys, I don't use an exchange actually. And in fact, what I did is I reached out to Caleb and Brown right here. And these guys actually are a brokerage. Now, the amazing thing about a brokerage is this, that you're not going to find an exchange. You literally can get on the phone and you can talk to these guys and they will help you with anything that you need. Now, think about this. When you're dealing with Coinbase, Kraken, Uphold, or whatever, and you have a problem, you're submitting that support ticket, right? It could take weeks to get resolved. Well, these guys, you just pick up the phone and they'll help you out. And by the way, there's no deposit fees, no withdrawal fees, no custody fees, nothing. The only fee that you pay is your trading fee. And having said that, they have provided us with a unique link that you can click on right down in the description there, and you will get 3.5% on your fees. And for me, the peace of mind being able to reach out and talk to somebody, it is well worth it. Well, guys, as you know, I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't financial advice, but if you found value in it, if you'd hit that like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. And don't forget to hit that notification bell down there so that you don't miss out on any of the videos that we're uploading. And if you're one of the thousands of people who have been watching these videos but you haven't yet subscribed, would you do the channel a favor and join this community? We would really love to have you on board. So, in the meantime and in between time, stay safe, be blessed, and I'll catch you in the next one.